Hey everybody, this is SeetherCord here, and welcome to a new video for you guys today. Welcome back to the journey of exploration within the beautiful creations our artists have brought to life throughout the years. Last time, we covered Dutch angel dragons, cute, adorable, and heavenly creatures that once roamed paradise. This week, we will be heading into a different universe. Yeah, you heard right, universe. One with a deep collection of stories and a lot of effort put into it since its creation. For today's video, we are going to discuss Sergals, but in order to put you into perspective of how big of a deal these creatures are for their creators, Sergals are not just a simple species. They are one of the many creatures made by the two artists known as Nick Ono and Kiki Uma. So for this video, we'll delve into exploring their universe first. Then we'll go into the planet, and finally we'll touch on Sergals themselves, because it turns out they're just a small piece in an amazingly big art project. So the universe we will be placing ourselves in is known as Villas, where the sun of which has the same name. There are multiple planets inside this realm, but we'll be paying attention to the one called Planet Tal. This little planet is nothing like the Earth. It has its own fauna, flora, and societal system. There are two ecosystems on the planet that vastly differ from one another, Talixium biomes and Eltis biomes. Inside each biome, you'll find different animals, both wild and more advanced in an evolutionary sense. The Eltis biome is more tame in a sense of survival. Society grew and creatures developed to where they now have enough knowledge to speak, build houses, and develop as a smart society. While in the Talixian biome, it is still known as pure wilderness and can be considered dangerous to go alone if you don't know your way around it. It doesn't mean you can't survive there, but it is highly difficult compared to the Eltusian side of things. The creators of this fantasy world even drew a bunch of maps and guides so as to show us about where everything goes. The attention to detail in Villas is incredible in my opinion. Before I explain these, I want to make a small mention here about the society development of this world. In Tal, these three creatures live in both peace and war. They live in small tribes all over the globe, but there is one part where all three of these live together in harmony. There are three known sapient creatures in planet Tal, and these are Sergals, Agudners, and Nevrians. Before I explain these, I want to make a small mention here about the society development of this world. In Tal, these three creatures live in both peace and war. They live in small tribes all over the globe, but there is one part where all three of these live together in harmony. The Gold Ring, or GR for short. This is the metropolis that was started by the Sergals and the Agudners many years ago, and over time expanded to also bring in the bird people, Nevrians. This huge city covers a huge chunk on the coast of a salt lake called Culvalis. The society here has developed a lot as the creators of this universe went along, going from a mere collection of villages around the lake to a big city, and lastly technologically that is currently very close to what we had in the 1990s. Now starting from the back, Nevrians are avian-like creatures that have very slim bodies and feathery arms. It is unknown to me whether or not they are able to fly, but they are the kind to live in high places like mountains, so my assumption is that maybe they can glide. One thing I found very interesting about the bird people is the gender difference they have. Males tend to be very colorful, while females have tame and brownish shades to their feathers. Then we have the Agudners, who are what we can call the human counterpart of this fantasy realm. They are humanoids that look something like what we'd understand as a herbivore mammal, with a bit of a humanized face. They resemble different animals from Earth depending on what region of the planet they come from, such as rabbits, squirrels, monkeys, goats, sheep, alpacas, cattle, and others. Lastly, we have the cheese people, the Sergals. Physically speaking, Sergals were created based on many animals from Earth, and their origin story can vary. But from what I've gathered, it all started as a small bunny-like creature that grew more and more complex to where it is nowadays. Their face inspiration comes from sharks with a pointy triangular muzzle. They have angular backwards pointing ears, eyes with a vertical slit in the middle like a snake. As for eye color, they can have different shades of gray and brown as the most common options, shades of blue, purple, and green being quite hard to find, and yellow being exclusive to the Sergal known as General Rain and her few descendants. They have a mane on the back of their head, some with a long or thick fur, or short depending on the breed of Sergal we are referring to. The structure of their mouth, tongue, and neck is based off of various birds, which means they can talk and make a wide variety of noises in order to communicate with each other. They only have a few pairs of teeth in their mouth, a pointy tongue, and canine-like inside, meaning they are omnivorous by nature. The top half of their torso is very close to a human, with chest and shoulders and arms and belly very close to a human-like shape with the exception of a pointy bone on their chest. No, they don't have breasts, they lay eggs. They have 3 fingers and an opposable thumb and 4 toes. And lastly, they have a very, very long tail that starts thick on their back and gets slimmer, but ends on a thick fur tip. Did you know that baby Sergals are all gray when born? They change their fur color to their breeds as they grow. I thought this detail was too adorable to avoid. Just like the Agudners that have different shapes depending on where they are from, the same applies to Sergals. So far there are 4 kinds of them. They are classified as Northern, Southern, Eastern, and Western, and there are also a few subcategories here, like the Civilized Northern and the Civilized Southern. Let's visit them one by one, shall we? Northern Sergals are the ones with more documentation behind them, with a lot of information about their primitive stages and growth. They have dark, cold, and grayish shades of fur and a small mane on the back of their head. They are where the story started and where most of us get the idea of how a Sergal should look like. They tend to have a small subcategory known as pure Sergal, which is how they used to look in the past, with slightly lighter fur color and smaller body size than their current and civilized counterpart. But even as advanced as they are, the Northern Sergals tend to be very religious and prefer the tribe lifestyle over living in the big city. Southern Sergals are the ones you're most likely to find living in the Gold Ring. Their fur tends to be of lighter colors, like beige, brown, and orange. Their ears are longer than the other Sergals, but in terms of body shape, they tend to be the smaller and slimmer ones out of all the cheese boys. They are very sociable and proliferated in the city they built alongside the Agudners. Eastern Sergals are the middle point between Northern and Southern. They are literally a blood mix between the two. They tend to be the biggest ones of all the Sergals, with big muscles and longer fur than the rest. Their fur tends to be a darker color too. Because of their strength that they inherited from the Northern and the smarts that they got from the Southern, the Eastern Sergals tend to be on good terms with pretty much all the species around them. Western Sergals used to be a subspecies of the Northern Sergals. They are now extinct due to a war started by a Sergal known as General Rain. While they are not completely gone, the survivors of the war fled to the Gold Ring and have now mixed with Southern Sergals to the point of having no pure bloodline of their own, which is rendering their breed extinct with time. They used to have a small body build and a blue and purple fur along with a longer mane on the back of their head. The world of Tau has a very extensive story writing work behind it, which is, as far as I can understand, is still ongoing. The lore has been through changes, gotten abandoned at one point, but then revisited and revised, and I was very surprised to learn about everything we have seen today. But man, if you thought that what I've presented here sounds interesting, you should definitely visit villas.net, the website we used as reference to write the script about this species. The process of writing down and summarizing the amount of information there is about this species was quite extensive and took some time, but I encourage you to go and read it yourself, because we skipped so much of the actual lore and concentrated way more into just describing the world itself and the creatures within it. Because the universe of Villas has so much detail in it, such as the origin of the primitive stages of Sergals, how the Gold Ring came to be, the wars, General Rain, and so on. Like, if I were to touch on every single detail we found, this video would have turned out to be hours long. There's just so many things that I can't cover in just one video and that I consider are very important to the species. I must give my kudos to the 2 artists in charge of this project, because even though the Sergals are a bit more known than the other species that live in this fantasy world, I think the amount of attention that they have put and are still willing to pour into this has to be praised and appreciated. Also, they have manga, comic books, and various other merch you can also find on their website to support their art. They totally deserve this. All of the information and pictures I have shown you throughout the video was taken from their site, so please go check it out. Take some time out of your day just to take in the creativity of this universe of Villas and the Sergals themselves. Read their stories because they are totally worth the while. Anyways, that's going to pretty much wrap up this video for you guys today. Thank you again so much to KhramChee for all the research and the information for this video. Make sure you check out all of their social media will be linked down in the description down below. If you guys enjoy our content and want to further help out our channel, please make sure to donate to our Patreon as well as our Ko-fi. Remember to smash that like button, turn the notification bell, and subscribe all together. I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.